Welcome to the Unspoken Truth Radio Sports Show. This your boy JB, and I got my dog on the line.
What up? This B-Ham.
Man, you don't sound pretty excited. The Bucs, we've been winning. We won 3 straight, dog, and I think you owe us an apology on behalf of the Bucs because, first off, I want to wait. Don't interrupt me, sir. Don't interrupt me, sir. I'm gonna let you get yours off, all right? But first off, I just want to say this. I had to hawk you down for the first 2 weeks, and you ain't want to do the podcast. I'm like, Brandon, let's go ahead and do this podcast. You like, man, the fucking Bucs suck. He didn't say that. He didn't say the effing Bucs suck, but he said the Bucs suck, y'all. And I'm like, bro, we got to do the podcast. He was like, you know what? All right. So it took the second week for me to hawk this man down just to get it going. This man said that the Bucs wasn't gonna probably turn out to be 9-7. Looked like the Bucs gonna be 9-7. This man said he don't rock with Jameis Winston. My dog Jameis Winston went out here and threw over 300 yards or whatever.
We will get to Jameis. Go ahead.
Yeah. And you gonna stop interrupting me, dog, because you be disrespecting. So first off, you owe us all an apology, for being a disrespectful, unloyal, ungrateful Buccaneer fan. You may go.
No, so I said the Bucs were going to finish 7-9 or 8-8. I lean more so on the 7-9 route. I mean, they're 6-7, so they ain't proved me wrong yet. But my thing of everybody's happy the Bucs are winning 1-3 in a row. Okay, cool. But my thing is, and I sent you this last night, 2007. That is the last time the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have made the playoffs. So in professional sports, you play the game to what? Win a championship. To win a championship, you have to make the playoffs. So if we are not making the playoffs, what are we truly happy about? So that's my thing. The Bucs again this year not making the playoffs because we are terrible. 6-7 ain't making nobody's playoff. And so as much as we want to pray,
9-7, 9-7, sir. 9-7, sir.
Okay, we'll see when that happens, but. That's why I'm not happy. I am tired of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers being the laughing stock of the National Football League, and that has been the way since 2007.
Well, actually, the Cleveland Browns are the laughing stock of the league. Keep on going.
Well, the Bucs are also part of that equation too, especially the beginning of this season when Jameis was throwing interceptions and we were losing.
We got a Super Bowl to back that up, and we also let this not distract you from the fact that the Falcons gave up a 26-3 lead.
You were, but at least the Falcons have been in the playoffs in recent years.
It doesn't matter. They ain't got no Lombardi trophy though. They ain't got no.
You were how old?
I was 14, and I enjoyed every moment of it. It's a lot of
exactly.
There's a lot of Atlanta Falcon fans right now that's old as dust, and they still ain't seen their team win the Super Bowl. I remember when the Falcons went with Jamal Anderson, they lost, and they lost to the Denver Broncos. I remember when the Falcons went and they gave up that big old lead to the Patriots. Which one hurt more? I'd much rather see my team win the Super Bowl at least one time with my own 2 eyes than to never see it at all.
Yeah, you say that if your team is losing within a 5-year gap. If we've been terrible for 5 years,
we got a Super Bowl. We have a Super Bowl.
That, JB, in 2007, there's no excuse of why we're going into 2020.
Okay.
That is inexcusable. As a franchise, that is inexcusable.
The Super Bowl is next year in Tampa, bro. We doing this to set this up for the Super Bowl in Tampa. We all know.
The Bucs have been a terrible run franchise, and it shows on paper. Anyways, going back to yesterday's game, let me run down some stats real quick before we, that's what we're talking about. You want to talk about the Bucs? Jameis Winston threw for 45 attempts, connected on 33. Big, huge numbers he put up: 456 yards, 4 touchdowns, and turnover. Jameis came back again, 3 interceptions, and 1. Speaking of interceptions, I could barely even get the game on, and I see a tweet. Nothing like a game started with Jameis throwing an interception. I'm like, what? They just kicked off. So another game, Jameis throws the first pass of the game as an interception. I went back and watched it. That was inexcusable. He threw in like triple coverage, and the linebacker just picked it off, kept it moving. And the second one, Jameis throws a pick 6. So that is my problem, and I'm going to keep this short because I know, we're trying to crunch here. That is my problem with Jameis Winston. I tweeted this out yesterday, too. Jameis on the same drive, in the same quarter, in the same game, will go from looking like he needs to be benched to going to looking like an all-pro quarterback. And that inconsistency just makes it hard for fans. And that's why I understand the people who say Jameis don't need to come back next year, or the people who say, oh, Jameis, give him like you're on that bandwagon of giving Jameis another year. I understand it because Jameis shows flashes of greatness, but the same thing I told you, he's in his 5th year. These 3 interception games, these 20-plus interception seasons is inexcusable when you're in your 5th year. Like, you just cannot have that, especially when you have a young Bucs defense and a young secondary, and you throw an interception on the first play of the game on your own end zone to give the Colts the ball. Well, I think the Colts got it back on like the 30. They're already scoring. And so you're putting your defense automatically in a bind when you go out and throw and Jameis said it yesterday in his post-game press conference. He said it, that I'm not doing a good job of putting our team in the best chances to win with his turnovers. And I'm paraphrasing, but he understands he cannot be, but he understands it, but he still does it. That is the problem.
He's not doing it on purpose, sir.
Of course, I would hope he ain't doing it on purpose.
He's not doing, and let this not distract y'all from the fact that Jameis is ranked 2nd in the league when it comes to yards per game.
Because he has to, because so many times the Bucs are trailing and having to throw, and it doesn't help when you look at stats. Ronald Jones, 36 yards rushing. Peyton Barber, 34 yards rushing. You ain't scaring nobody when you only rush for 80 yards.
And let this not
two running backs.
And let this not distract you from the fact that Jameis Winston is ranked 2nd as well in the most passing touchdowns in the league.
Again, because we are forced to throw. You're not scaring anybody when between 2 running backs you only run for 80 yards. That ain't scaring nobody.
That's cool. But our offense is still a threat. So, let's talk about the defense.
So, I mean, hold on. Continue the stats real quick. Chris Godwin, again, coming through, 91 yards. O.J. Howard finally getting out of his funk for the, 2nd game. And I want to speak on Rashad Perriman. I know beginning of the year, I was like, what is he doing? Bucs, are we really about to keep him? But Rashad Perriman has come around these past 2-3 games. He had a huge catch at the end of the game to kind of put that W in the column for the Bucs. He had 70 yards, that 1 touchdown. And speaking of, we're going to need Rashad Perriman, and the reason why he was brought in here without Mike Evans, who had that 1 catch, that 61-yard bomb for the touchdown. Mike Evans doesn't look good with his injury, and that doesn't look good, as a paraphrasing quote from Bruce Arians. So I don't expect Mike Evans to come back this week when the Bucs play the Lions. He may not come back next week. I am on the fence of not even letting him come back for the season. It's only 3 weeks left.
He'll be fine. He'll be fine. He'll be back. And let this not distract you from the fact that Jameis is the 3rd most sacked quarterback in the league. Keep on going.
And Deshaun Watson is probably up there. And
no, he's not. Deshaun Watson is number 6. I'm looking at it right now. Kyler Murray is number 1. Kyle Allen number 2. And Jameis Winston is number 3. Let that not distract you.
And now let's look at how many interceptions each of those quarterbacks have thrown. Because I don't care about getting sacked. We know the offensive line is terrible. Getting sacked and throwing interceptions are 2 different things. You just because you're getting sacked doesn't mean you have to. So Deshaun Watson is what number on that list?
Number 6.
And he's only thrown 9 interceptions this season.
Okay, but that's not our team, and their defense is not sorry.
But the defense doesn't have nothing to do with you throwing interceptions.
Hey man, first of all, you gonna talk about some positive stuff, bro? You gonna talk about some positive stuff?
No, I'm telling you, that is proving my point that Jameis is turnover.
You gonna talk about some positive stuff, bro? You gonna talk about something positive?
The Bucs won. Jameis overcame his 3 interceptions and willed them back. That is the positive. But you can't talk about the Bucs without Jameis' turnovers. That is going to be a storyline this offseason. And if you watched the broadcast yesterday, they mentioned it with every pass about Jameis and his turnovers and how unpredictable he is. That is just the given, honest truth of what we have to deal with and what the Bucs team is going to have to deal with Jameis in this offseason, whether they want to franchise tag him or let him go.
We're not going to let him go. He's going to be around. He's going to have a 2-year contract, 2 or 3 year contract, and he's going to be
That is just the reality, and I am on that fence of I would be happy if Jameis is not back.
Oh my gosh! What? Are you serious, nigga? You tripping?
Can you let me finish, sir? I also understand if Jameis does come back. I am one of Jameis's. I am rooting for him. I am a Florida State fan. When the Bucs drafted Jameis, I'm like, yes, draft him over Mariota. We want Jameis. I have Jameis memorabilia in my closet. I want Jameis to succeed in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers uniform, but taking the fan out of me, I look at his games and look at his stats and say the Bucs cannot win when you have 20-plus interceptions consistently or you put your teams at hold. When you have multiple pick-six games, every quarterback is going to throw an interception. Every quarterback is going to have pick-six games. That's just part of the league. But when you do it multiple times and when you do it on the passing, and I know you saw the interceptions yesterday, they were like, you were looking at them like, Jameis, what are you doing? That cannot happen consistently, especially when you're in your
one of the interceptions was not one of the interceptions.
If this was his first year, second year, when he had 23 interceptions, I'm like, okay, he's just learning the league. But by your fifth year, my dog, this can't be happening. But anyway, continuing. So the Bucs, Mike Evans out. I think yesterday proved that they know they can come back through adversity and win. I mean, I put an asterisk next to it. I said the same thing as the Jags game. The Colts now sit at 6-7. Their playoff hopes are probably dashed as well. So neither team was really good. I think the Colts, earlier this morning, I was actually reading some articles, and people were talking about, is Jacoby Brissett really the answer? The Colts thought they had moved on past Andrew Luck, and now, Brissett, and they're not going to make the playoffs. So there's a lot of questions up there, too. I'm proud of the defense. I mean, the defense, for the most part, the thing with the Bucs defense, we know the front line is good. We know the young core of Levante David, Devin White, those two are going to be okay. The problem comes to when you look at those four backs, there are two corners and the safeties. That is my thing, and they showed yesterday how when they're out of place, they look so bad. Like that bomb Jacoby Brissett threw, I can't remember the receiver. Johnson had over 100 yards receiving, and Pascal, I think he was on the receiving end of one of those other bombs. It looks like when the corners look out of place, you're like, yeah, this is the young secondary that you always are scared of, because you just never know when they're going to slip up, and they slip up a lot. And when Jacoby Brissett had an okay game, he didn't throw any interceptions. Jameis. Jacoby Brissett threw 36 times, 19 connections, 251 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. The hometown boy, Marlon Mack, straight out of 941. Only 38 yards, 13 carries. He had 1 touchdown run. I think the Bucs have a lot to look forward to. Another disappointing season.
Oh, gosh.
I think there's just a lot of questions from this game. I think as we start going, though, with 3 weeks left, I think you're going to see a lot of rotations and substitutions for Bruce Arians to try to get players in that may not have played a lot, especially now that the Bucs know that this season is going to end like the past one since 2007, which is no post-round action. Now you want to get players who you're on the fringe about, players who have contracts coming up. You want them to play now so you can figure out what you do this offseason. So I think these next 3 games are going to be interesting for the Bucs. You're going to see a lot of different players come in, a lot of different rotations. Because you have players that need to come back. You got Shaquille Barrett, who tied Simeon Rice yesterday for most sacks. He's probably going to break Warren Sapp's record for most sacks in the season. He needs to be re-signed. So, there's a lot of decisions that the Bucs are going to have to make. I personally am disappointed. Not disappointed in this game. I'm glad the Bucs won. They, winning at home. Raymond James Stadium hasn't been a nice place to play in for the Bucs, but they won at home. I'm just disappointed after this fight. And that's my thing. The Bucs show that they can win. And I'm not putting it all on Jameis, because we've shown with the offensive line has been terrible. Yes, The secondary has been terrible, yes. Coaching decisions have been questionable, yes. But those turnovers have hurt in a lot of games. And when you look at the way the Bucs have played, they shouldn't be 6-7. The Bucs should very well be an 8-5 team right now. Yeah, so when you look at the season, which is why I say overall I'm disappointed because that New York game, the Bucs can be 7-6 right now. You go to Carolina, Jameis' turnovers you're taking away. The Bucs are 8-5. You go in that Tennessee game and Jameis turnovers, the Bucs are 9-4. So this season is disappointing. I think next week is the Lions. I think the Bucs can take that away. And I just at 500 at 7-7. Good game, good win yesterday. Just as a fan, I'm just disappointed knowing that we won't be playing in the second season, as we call it.
You done issue on the Bucs?
I'm good, man. Good win. We got a lot to build on. A lot of positives, though, to carry on.
First off, I just want to say the Bucs will be re-signing Jameis Winston. He won't have a franchise tag, but it'll be for 2-3 years. He wants to be a Buc. He doesn't want to go anywhere else. And it makes no sense for him to go anywhere else. He needs to remain a Buc. As long as our secondary comes straight, we'll be just fine. He's going to correct himself. Jameis know what to work on. That's all he got. He only got one job over the summer now. One job. Just try not to make no mistakes. That's it. So, over the summer, he need to do some quarterback drills with a wide receiver and about like 30 people out there on that one man. And do some drills like that. But yeah, we're going to figure it out, man. But yeah, Super Bowl next year, man, in Tampa Bay. The Bucs are getting ready for one of the biggest comebacks ever. See, this is about to be
Oh, yeah, and I told you this yesterday, but so we can just put it on somebody's recording. I told you, if Jameis Winston's the quarterback next year for the Bucs and he throws less than 10 interceptions next year and the Bucs make the playoffs, I will buy your ticket.
You said less than 10 interceptions, right?
Yep.
If he throws less than 10 interceptions, what?
For the season next year. If he's back as a Buccaneers quarterback.
And we go to the playoff, you buying the ticket, right?
Yep.
All right, Jameis Winston will be throwing 8 interceptions next year.
We'll see.
And we're going to the Super Bowl next year too. Super Bowl in Tampa, so we got to go to the playoff. We have to. Like we have to be all the way aggressive next year in the offseason. Aggressive, like we can't even play fair. So Super Bowl in Tampa Bay, man. We going to Super Bowl next year, so get ready. Tampa Bay going down. But yeah, man. But we about to go ahead and get off this thing, man. This your boy JB, aka Spoken. I got my dog.
It's B-Ham. Go Jameis. I'm rooting for you, man.
Yeah, man. You disrespected this man the whole time. Jameis, I got your back, dog. This man ain't your friend, bro. This man ain't your friend, bro. He don't care about you, bro. He don't care about you, bro. He only cared about you at Florida State. That's it. That's it, bro.
Nah, Jameis, don't listen to that. No. Jameis, and this, let me get like 10 seconds. Jameis, truthfully, I'm rooting for you. I want you to take the Buccaneers to the promised land. I truly do. It's just, yeah, you know what you have to work on. I am Jameis. I want you to win that Pro Bowl in the Bucs uniform. I want you to win that Super Bowl in the Bucs uni. You show signs of greatness. You have it. We know you're talented. Come on, man. Let's go.
That's the humble spirit I like. That's the humble spirit I like. Well, this your boy JB, aka Spoken. I got my dog B-Ham on the line. This your radio show, your favorite sports radio show, Unspoken Truth radio sports show. We are. Peace. Our offense up, our defense rough. Go Bucs, go Bucs. Ain't no other team stopping us. Go Bucs, go Bucs. And the Raymond James, we do our thing. Every cannon bang.